This is about John McPhee writing about writing. I was reading a book by John McPhee, a collection of essays, when I became aware of the fact that he had written a subsequent book on writing, draft number 4 on the writing process. He's well known for elucidating things that are difficult to understand. I thought I might take a look at what he had to say about writing, driven by pure curiosity. I've read a number of books on this topic. The best, or the one I liked the most, was written by a woman named Prose. She built it very carefully, starting with word choice, then sentence construction, paragraphs, and so on, all backed by copious examples. I found this a worthy consideration. The worst book for me on the subject was written by a very famous author. I thought it was bloated and utterly contrary to its aim, a waste. McPhee's book I thought was a good one, breezy and anecdotal from a lifetime of writing, researching, and reporting, including discreet insider views of the New Yorker, possibly the most prestigious publication, if not the best. McPhee has been working at the top of his game for a long time, and his book reads like a victory lap. He is a very clever and assiduous man who can use words adroitly. Reading him is not only informative, it's fun. As always, McPhee is not afraid of poking around in what might be unpromising material. He's like an oil man, willing to drill a dry hole in his search for black gold. We know from his work that even the most skillful riverboat tug pilots can sometimes run aground. In the midst of explaining the wonders of his editing software, McPhee hit a reef and sank. He takes care to discuss human editors too, and in doing so, he assesses what the best and proper function of an editor may be. I have wished, in vain, for that perfect editor, one who would champion my work, celebrate what is good, help to weed out the weaknesses. The subjects McPhee wrote about, celebrities for Time, dedicated eccentrics for the New Yorker, are even more attractive than the offbeat editors. He has a knack for finding full-fledged characters and transposing them effectively onto the page. Reading any of his essays is like taking a stroll through a human zoo. In the midst of his rambles through the work of his long career, he does offer some pointed advice. He says that writing nonfiction is the art of making the most of what you have. Obviously, the more you have, the better your most can be, and McPhee never shied away from collecting material, quotes, observations, and set scenes. About construction, he insists that the structure of an essay should arise from within the material, and he fortifies that with numerous and complex examples. Noting the increasing complexity of his own work, especially in regard to chronology, which is bent, reversed, flipped, and folded, I was reminded of the curved space in non-Euclidean geometry, Einstein's space-time, and also, thank goodness, certain dramatic TV shows, as they sometimes get fancy, letting the plot run backwards, with flashbacks and much hopping around. It's a technique that revitalizes and refreshes what otherwise might be humdrum and repetitive, the quintessential whodunit plot. It's a gimmick, and it works, for the TV shows and John McPhee. And more. You find your lead, he says. You build your structure. Do that, and you are now free to write. A lead is good not because it dances, fires cannons, or whistles a tune like a train, but because it is absolute to what follows. Writing is selection. He says this several times. You select what goes in, and you decide what stays out. They are of equal value in what you finally produce. He has a long record of making excellent choices.